Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today I'm going to be playing two of the new buffed vehicles in the 1.28 update and letting you know why the K-Panzer 3 Project 07 HK, that's a mouthful, it has gone from literally 0 to hero. I would argue this was one of the worst of the tier 9 tank destroyers inside the game, just because it felt so incredibly awkward, and Wargaming have made some massive changes to this vehicle, so now well, I'm going to be letting you know whether it gets a firm recommendation from me. So firstly, how exactly have Wargaming changed this tank? Well, they've firstly increased the damage per minute. This vehicle has two different damage per minute. There's one inside the siege mode and there's one outside the siege mode. The damage per minute outside the siege mode is higher than inside when you're sniping. It used to have 3,176 damage per minute. Now it's up to 3,323. That's kind of like almost tortoise-esque damage per minute. It's absolutely wild what this vehicle is able to do now with its damage per minute. Its damage per minute was great before, but it's incredible now. But here's the biggest thing. Previously, the vehicle had pretty mediocre dispersion values if you wanted to play it outside of the siege mode. It had 0.12 when moving and when turning the tank, and it had 0.1 when lowering and lifting the gun, which you kind of have to do a lot of because you don't have more than about 2 or 3 degrees of gun depression unless you're inside the siege mode and using the hydropneumatic suspension of the vehicle. And so what you have to do is kind of find yourself on a slope that's slightly downwards and then use the elevation of the gun to be able to work your opponents. Now, they have literally halved the dispersion values. They went from 0.12 to 0.06 and from 0.1 to 0.05. That's outside the siege mode. Inside the siege mode, funny enough, it actually has worse gun handling, which is weird. But what that means is that now you can just move around outside the siege mode where you've got that higher damage per minute and still got pretty good accuracy of 0.35 and just absolutely go to town on your opponents. Now, if you do go inside the siege mode, you lose a lot of your damage per minute. Your gun handling actually becomes worse, but your accuracy and your gun depression becomes significantly better. So, full disclosure, I played this thing about like 10 or 15 times on the day that it was buffed, so I was still trying to get used to the mentality of not being inside the siege mode when I need to actually use my firepower, but inside the siege mode only for gun depression accuracy. It's a really weird one to get your head around. Because with the Swedish tank destroyers, it's kind of the opposite. You've got a travel mode, and then you've got a siege mode, because you literally have no elevation, no depression, and no flexibility, and your DPM is not higher outside of the siege mode. So you can see I'm entering here to be able to get that accurate shot. I'm going to try and go after the what was it? Was that an XM57 playing as if he's a sneaky tank destroyer up there? So I'm still learning. If I make a few micro mistakes in this, I'll try and highlight them. But what you really need to figure out is that unless you really need an accurate shot or to use your gun depression, you are far better to just not use the siege mode in this tank. You're also slower inside the siege mode, although you're still fast. You're still fast, so you don't really have to worry. This tank's so quick, even inside the siege mode, that turbo is optional. This is, I would not say turbo is optional on the Swedish tank destroyers, because they can only go about 10 at best inside the siege mode, and the turbo adds to that with a flat number. So if you have 10 kilometers an hour inside the siege mode on the STRV 103B, then you can either go 14, 15, or 16, even without engineering, depending on what flavor of a turbo you use. Accordingly, the turbo is the most important piece of equipment you will take on an STRV 103B. It outweighs the gun rammer, it outweighs the optics, in my opinion. I would always take that. Although I must highlight that on an STRV 103B, I still think the gun rammer outweighs the vents on that vehicle. And you know how much I love my vents. So if I'm using a gun rammer on the STRV, you know how important that is there. So what we're going to see here is I'm not inside the siege mode. I'm actually just rocking the vehicle, using that little bit of gun depression. And look at this thing's damage per minute. Boys and girls, this is 360 alpha damage with like a 4-second reload. And before that guy can even use his awkward depression, we shot him 4 times. It's absolutely mad. This vehicle, it never really used to be able to play like that. because it was just had such awkward gun handling. And so even though you had a good rate of fire, which is now a great and amazing rate of fire, you didn't have the gun handling to be able to do that. So now, if you find yourself in a position like this, which is just perfect for the tank, it's the perfect position for this tank, and you don't need to use the gun depression, pull back behind the bush, fire through the bush, go back into the bush, like this. It's so snappy, and you don't have to aim forever. And then if you need the accuracy, go inside the siege mode and then disappoint yourself when the shell misses. So it's absolutely incredible, boys and girls, this vehicle. It really, really, really is. It's changed from being incredibly frustrating to now just being an enjoyable tank that I'd recommend the tokens. Now, this sounds like it might be one of the biggest buffs in World of Tanks history. However, that's not all. I sound like a salesman here, but I'm thrilled. You can get it for tokens. You don't have to pay money to get this tank. And it's gone from being one of my most hated vehicles to the session that I had the other day, a really enjoyable tank destroyer. I think it might be a little bit too good, but maybe I'm pretty good with my Swedish tank destroyers. So maybe I just jump into this and I know how to play it and I've figured it out. Maybe this video will help more of you to be able to catch on. I think this thing could end up being one of the better tier 9 TDs if you are a bit of a cheeky player who knows how to use the mechanics of the tank. But as I was saying, it's not only the damage per minute they've improved, it's not only the dispersion values they've improved, they have also improved the hit points from 1,450 up to 1,700. And that's bizarre to me. This vehicle kind of has STRV 103B level hit points down at tier 8. It's got more hit points than the STRV 1030. So Wargaming have kind of taken this vehicle and also made it like an assault tank as well. Also, by the way, I should highlight to the running narrative here that the Lerva, he's not a very nice player to his team, and he started to ping me, so I pinged him back, and then he says, "Kampfpanzer, move a bit," and then I say, "Not yet, we have time," and he says, "F you," and I say, "Love you too, honey." Let's see how he's going to reply. Kisses, XXX. Honestly, it's the best way to deal with toxic trolls inside the game. Just kill them with kindness, you know? And also a little bit of trolling back with the kindness. I don't know. I've got time in this game. I'm not going to rush it. I'm going to wait to see if they continue to make more mistakes and then see if I need to make a flanking play later on. But yeah, the hit points of this vehicle now, Wargaming have kind of made it like a pseudo-snipey, pseudo-assault TD. It's a weird one. It's an absolute weird one. It really is. But that's not all, says Uncle QuickyBaby, because I believe, unless I'm very mistaken here, that the vehicle also has 2 seconds instead of 3 seconds now to switch the modes. I believe last patch it was 3 seconds to switch modes, but let me know if I'm speaking out of my backside in the comments down below. So you'll notice that when I need to make this kind of an attack, I'm actually driving around inside the sniper mode, but now I'm going to have to switch into this mode, put a shot into the player, repair my engine, and then go after the T-34-2 as well. And don't have the gun depression, but oh, just catch the rear of his tank. Lovely, lovely, lovely. That is what I like to see. And do you know what I just realized? This wasn't the replay that I wanted to show today. This wasn't the replay that I wanted to show today. All right, I'm going to Alt F4 and I'm going to show you the real replay I wanted to show. Okay, so I guess you're just having an extra long, happy video today, and I love this tank anyway, so let's skip ahead a little bit to stop this from being the longest video of all time. I think you'll forgive me, though, and the reason why you'll forgive me is because I got on the same map, in the same position, and had the same kind of game twice. But I realized when I was starting to look at the amount of kills and the damage total that I got that, yeah, this wasn't the game that I wanted to feature on YouTube today. Anyway, look, I've talked through all the mechanics. I've got you up to date as to how they've changed this vehicle. Now, how about you just see it, just using it, right? My goodness, that damage per minute, that flexibility, that working in the ridge. And I'm going to say it for like the third time this replay. And if that's not all, you should realize that this vehicle has decent heat pen 320, but really, really good HE rounds as well. 120 millimeters of HE pen with 460 alpha damage. I started to make use of those in true brutal fashion, boys and girls. Those HE rounds, they can really make the difference. But in this kind of a situation, just the elevation. Kampfpanzer takes one. I'm going to go to the side to use the rock to protect myself. The Kampfpanzer is going to get me there. And I'm going to enter the siege mode here because I need the extra gun depression. But you see that I'm actually going to leave the siege mode between my shots and then enter the siege mode afterwards. Now, that is min-maxing. That is min-maxing. And the reason why I'm doing that is because inside the siege mode, my reload is longer than 4 seconds. It's kind of like about 6.5. So if you enter... Well, if you leave the siege mode, you get that rate of fire boost, and then as long as you enter the siege mode about 2.5 seconds before the end, it will transition and you'll still have had enough time to be able to aim. But let's see if this HE shell works. 470 damage to the T3 Jaeger. Unfortunately, the second one only does 159. So I guess I should have fired APCR rounds there for the second one. So I guess it balanced out in a way, but man, those HE rounds are terrifying. And oh man, I just love using these bush locations for this tank. It's just perfect. And yeah, send in the heavies. I thought that T-49 was coming over. So the Renegade couldn't figure it out. The Conqueror's trying to push. This position, I love this position. I'll go here in every fast tank that I can get my hands on. And this vehicle, it's fast. 65 forwards, 25 backwards. Decent power to weight ratio, very good power to weight ratio. 23 horsepower per ton. This thing is a beast, and you can see in the first couple of minutes of this game I've had a much better round than the first one. But yeah, now you know the mechanics. Let's get to it with the firepower here. So, all in all, for the Kampfpanzer, this thing has literally gone from 0 to hero. Its requirements for marks of excellence were the lowest of any of the tier 9 tank destroyers, I believe. Less than 3k for your third mark. And I can tell you it's not going to stay there for long. So if you're a sweaty player, you definitely want to get into one of these as quickly as you can. Because the mark requirements are going to go up. I wouldn't be surprised if it reaches at least 3.5, if not 3.6. So I'd say that all in all, that would be like a 20% increase just in the pure amount of damage that this thing is going to deal. And it makes perfect sense. When you shave a second of switching into and out of the mode, previously Wargaming had it at 3 seconds to prevent people from doing that inside the siege mode. And while it can be a little bit annoying if you want to min-max, it's kind of a bit like the Panzer within that regard, how the mechanics work. I feel like it's still kind of optional because while you're losing a good chunk of your damage per minute, it's not as if you're becoming absolutely useless in this tank. So yeah, the siege mode change, the hit points change, the damage per minute change, all of this, it's just added together to make this thing an absolute beast. And I think it will become, yeah, one of the better tier 9 tank destroyers. So I guess all of you have got the dilemma now. A lot of you maybe previously didn't spend your tokens on this, and I think it was completely the right decision. However, now that Wargaming have changed it, how do you get your hands on this vehicle? Can you buy it with chips, or do you just only have to still get the old tanks with the tokens? If you only get the old tanks with the tokens, do I think this is better than getting one of the 2 new tanks? Arak 105 Proto. This is definitely a better tank than the Arak 105 Proto, but let me clarify. This vehicle, if you're not used to the Swedish tank destroyers, you might struggle in it. I think this is quite a high skill cap tank, and if you do play your Swedish TDs and you can play them well, then you might end up doing very well in this vehicle as well. But I'm singing praises on this vehicle because I strongly feel that they've done some incredible things to it. But again, I must highlight that this vehicle is not for casual players if they want to do well. Now, don't get me wrong, casual players will still be able to, for example, sit at the back of the map and put their mouse reticle over things and click them. That's a given, right? And you see we're entering in the siege mode there to have the better accuracy against the concept. Will we get the second shell in? Maybe I should have min-maxed by leaving and entering there. I think casual players will do well at the back of the map, but that's not going to be really playing the tanks to its strengths and really maxing out what the full capabilities of the vehicle is. or the capabilities are, as the case may be. So I wouldn't really recommend it for all of the casual players, but for anyone who loves Swedish tank destroyers, oh man, this is a good one. This is a real good one. And as we don't have a premium Swedish tank destroyer outside of the S1 in the game, then this is really your option. This is really your option with regards to that. Now, it's not premium, it's a reward, so it's going to make the extra crew training, sure, but another shell into that T3 Jaeger, man. It's almost comical how much better this tank is than a T3 Jaeger, and that's the premium, and I'm the reward, right? Oh, he's 75. Take it, take it, take it. I probably should have min-maxed by leaving and entering here, but looks like I'm still able to get the shot in and finish him off. GG. Yeah, it's almost comical how much better this is than the T3 Jaeger. So remember, this thing isn't going to make you extra credits, but the large repair kit is free, which is nice. Oh, T3 Jaeger, you've just come for more HE shells, haven't you? That's 3 penetrating HE shells on that T3 Jaeger. And when you're hitting for 460 average, it doesn't take too many shots to be able to bag them. So in this situation, my team is trying to attack along the south, and I kind of want to go after the LT-432, but I've also got to be careful with the Skoda along here. I'm going to try and snipe one. I'm hoping he's going to push forwards. Hope he's going to pull back. There we go. And to have that flexibility, you know? To have that mode switch accuracy. Oh, man, it's lovely. However, I feel like I might have bitten off a little bit more than I can chew in this scenario. And while I've got rid of a dangerous premium tank from a sniping ridgeline, I'm a little bit worried that this LT could be able to come after us. Don't think this is like the STRV-1030 with driving backwards there, however. You see that? It's not slow backwards, but it's not like a Swedish TD where you can run away with regards to that. All of this would kind of make sense with regards to how good they've made this tank. If it didn't also have armor. It has 45mm of frontal armor, which is better than the STRV-1030, and its lower plate as well is actually very proficient against inside good matchups. Or is it? I have to check that because I feel like that might be a QuickyBaby oversight. I've got a funny feeling that its lower plate is not bad. Yeah, cool. I'm good. I thought I was about to speak out of my backside for the second time here. But look at this, 190 on the lower plate. So that means when you're playing against tier 7s and tier 8s, you can kind of just angle like this, and you can kind of just become a super heavy like that. Like 226 if you're playing against tier 7s and tier 8s and they don't have good pen. Yeah, it's wild like that. So yeah, the tank just has everything. That's it, really. It just has everything. Oh man. Apart from the rear armor. Saladin gets me advancing through. Spotted actually up on the high ground, and the LT-432 makes a pass at me. A little bit of a misplay there to get spotted. What I should have done is probably hugged the edge of the map so that the LT-432 thought that I was still up there. If the LT-432 thought I was still up there, that means he wouldn't try and flank around to be able to come after us. Anyway, 5 kills, 5,600 damage. I'm thinking, shall I stop to get this LT-432? Nah, I gotta make a flanking play. So the reason why I'm flanking here is because it looks like that concept has been dealing with all of my friends. And I can't push into 2 tank destroyers with a light tank covering for vision, right? So even though we're down a tank, we're down 2,400 hit points they have. Well, not down a tank anymore. They had double our hit points up until that point. We're going to go in, try and get rid of the concept, and see if we can take down this game. And this is one of the beautiful things about this vehicle. It's not like a campy TD. You have that armor to still be able to get some miracles out of the game. And also, you have that mobility to be able to make flanking plays as if you were a relatively quick medium tank. This is just the all-purpose package. The only thing it doesn't have a turret is a turret now, but it has such good dispersion that the tank itself is a turret in a way. Weird to say that. You get what I'm suggesting though. All right, so 3 versus 4. Concept on the enemy team: Kari, XM57, and an LT-432. The only hope that I have is that I've hit a load of those blind shots on the Kari and maybe they're not so healthy. So wow, the SU 1:30 PM pulls off a massive play, gets rid of the XM57 on the enemy team, and I've made my way through towards the bushes, and oh, that's a fortunate timing. So I'm going to intuition switch here to heat for the Kari, try and get rid of them. I'm going to come around the corner outside the siege mode, put in a shot, and I just decided we just got to go for it. We just got to go for it. I'll take the shot. I'm going to get rid of you, hopefully out of the game before he reloads again after this. Put another one in. Get him ammo racked. Is he going to try and yeet out? Doesn't matter. The Type 68 shuts him down, and suddenly this game's looking good. And hopefully... Oh, no! Not like this. Not like this, boys and girls. My shell ricochets off the concept, and suddenly I am a one-shot as well. But I'd also like to highlight, I have 214 hit points. This vehicle got a 250 hit point buff. I'm literally dead last patch. And not just because of the damage per minute, not just because of the siege mode switch, not just because of the gun handling, purely because of the hit points. This game would have been lost almost certainly if it wasn't for the buff to the Kampfpanzer. And this is where buffs to tanks just make differences, and it allows you to have your better win ratios, your better damage per games, the tanks to have more impact is what I'm suggesting. And so yeah, I'm dead. I would be dead without that 250 extra hit points. So Mr. Concept, where are you? I'm going to try and attack him, but we've got to watch out for what the LT-432 is doing. I've got a heat round loaded. He overangles, but he was under a huge amount of pressure there with the Type 68, so you can understand why he overangles. So, 6 kills, 6,700 damage that we've seen so far this game. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ping cap, because why would we rush in against an LT-432 who's on full hit points? I tell the team to take the cap, I tell the SU-130 PM to fall back, and what is happening? Hold on, goosebumps. The team actually does it. What? They're actually going to cap and not rush in one by one? Well, I guess you would kind of expect that from a team that so far has managed to destroy 11 out of the 15 players on the enemy team, but there's still one more on full hit points that we're going to have to be able to get through here. So let's get back, protect the cap circle, and try and get that Type 63 and SU-130 PM to be able to help me as well. Come on, we've got a top gun to our name, 6,000 damage that we've seen. This has been an incredible game for now. I can't believe I'm going to say this. An incredible tank. This tank has literally gone from zero to hero, boys and girls. Literally, it's a tank that I would... Oh, no! 174 damage from the LT-432. Didn't see that one coming. But my adrenaline rush is up. Is the LT going to go back? I'm going to try and use more of the positions, more of the buildings to try and cover me. And the Type 68, he can take a hit. Can the SU take a hit right now? The SU can take 3 hits, actually. So, as long as we just put some pressure up on the LT-432 and force him to come in. I'm kind of the liability of the team here at the moment, because I'm a one-shot. So if I get out, then that's a whole gun that we don't have in our game. So I figure out, well, if he's not there, he's got to be coming around there. So I ping the map, see the LT. He unfortunately shoots my SU. I'm going to have to get forwards here, because if he fires an HE shell, he'll actually kill the SU in a single shot. He actually shoots the SU twice for free. I'm going to have to poke the ridgeline, but I actually don't really want to poke the ridgeline. I want the Type to help me, but also I have to still be able to try and protect myself in this situation if he comes around the corner. He's only got 10 seconds left. He's got to make a push. He's got to make a push, right? He's got to make a push. And actually, it looks like it's a little too late. Are we going to leave the cap? No. Don't take the risk. Don't take the risk. Just take the win. GG easy. And he actually comes and gives us the kill as well. That was nice of him. 7 kills, 7,000 damage that we saw. And luckily, a little bit more as well. 7,300 damage. Man, how much of an all-purpose banger tank was this vehicle in that replay. We did everything. We kind of had that light tank role, the DPM role, almost even the everything apart from the armor, pretty much, because I received 5 hits and took 5 hits. But as you could see with the armor loadout, this thing, against certain tanks, is still proficient. But that is not the only tank that has been buffed. Wargaming have also taken the Lorraine 50T, a vehicle which, again, I wouldn't have recommended anyone get in its previous version of the vehicle, and have given it a little less love than the Kampfpanzer, but still some substantial buffs. Firstly, the rate of fire. They have shaved off 1.1 seconds off its reload time. It's still not great. It's still kind of like tier 8 worthy, but at least it's not like tier 6 worthy. The damage per minute has gone from 1,714 up to 1,860. It's still not good for a tier 9 tank, let me clarify that, but at least it's not absolutely horrendous. Wargaming have also improved the aim time of the vehicle from 3 seconds to 2.8 seconds, and they've also improved the turret traverse dispersion from 0.15 to 0.12. So it's gone from being a tank where you definitely should be using snapshot and vert stabs to now being a tank that you probably should be using vert stabs and snapshot. And I use vert stabs on most of my builds, apart from when I need the turbo to rush into position. But it's workable now without it. At least it's an option now, whereas previously it just really wasn't an option. Yeah, as I said, with the turbo, my main build on this tank is vents, gun rammer, vert stabs, just full firepower, get on a ridgeline. That's what this vehicle is meant to do. It's got an incredible turret. And that is what the highlight of the vehicle is. Get on a ridgeline, use its 10 degrees of gun depression, and just continuously grind out your opponents. And this is just the dream position for this tank. And there's no artillery on the enemy team as well. And even if we are playing against tier 10 tanks, it doesn't really matter. We just got to go for it. Awful shot there. I don't know what I was thinking. I think it was just hope. Just frustration that the 1390 doesn't take another shell. But yeah, just awful round there. Luckily, this Conqueror is going to go after me. And I spot them. I actually managed to also spot the 1390 for 768, which is absolutely wonderful there. And now we're going to be going after this Conqueror, who is above us on this ridge. But who's hold down now, right? You might be Obi-Wan in this scenario, but it looks like Anakin's just so angry that he's still going to be able to handle the situation. And this Conqueror, they are feeling that better damage per minute, right? Again, let me clarify, this damage per minute is still not great, but Wargaming have taken it from being absolutely horrendous to just now being bad. And I'd definitely take bad rather than horrendous when this vehicle does have that great turret. Good accuracy as well, 0.33, not bad accuracy. And penetration-wise, this vehicle's great for a tier 9. 264 on its standard rounds, 308 on its gold rounds, not quite so good. But yeah, for standard pen, very lovely. I am overcompensating there a little bit with firing gold into the side of the Conqueror, but I just feel how important it is to get rid of him. And I'd rather pen the gold than bounce the regular rounds, especially in a tank that has such awful damage per minute, right? And this thing, it's just clapping, right? It's just clapping. You've got such a flexible turret, but never gets shot in the side, which is why I was quite thankful that we dug that Conqueror out. And I'm keeping an eye on the pattern to make sure they don't get us. And we can put a round right through the side of the mantlet of the mouse there. A lot of people don't realize that one. That when the mouse angles its armor perfectly like that, that if it just sits still, then its mantlet is a bit of an issue. But obviously, if it doesn't angle its turret, then we're going to go straight through its cheeks. And even though our damage per minute is bad, in 4 minutes, 5,800 is not bad. And this is just this tank in a nutshell. Let me clarify, this is the only time, really, that this vehicle does do well. But when you do get on maps like Muravanka, when you do get on maps like I nearly said White Park, that wouldn't be a possibility, Live Oaks or Westfield, is what I was trying to say there, then this vehicle, it can be great. It can be great. And 7,000 damage in 4 minutes and 15 seconds. Let's go. It's always nice when Wargaming do give vehicles that were just completely irrelevant a little bit of love. What scares me, though, sometimes is that Wargaming's buffing approach. I do feel like with the Projekt, the vehicle that I just played, I think the buff might be a little bit too much. This one, I'm fine with. I don't think that this vehicle is going to be the new best, kind of like tier 9 heavy for you to be able to play. But as we can see, it's so much better than it was. So much better than it was. And it's fast into a position as well. This vehicle, especially with that aim time and that dispersion buff when turning the turret, it now means that you can take that turbo and YOLO into position. And if you can take that turbo and YOLO into position, then you can just enforce the vehicle's oppression against its opponents. Oh, come on. No! What? Lava! No! Oh, we were doing so good this game, apart from that missed shot on that 1390. That shell denies me 4 kills. It denies me 9,000 damage. And also, it denies me the high caliber. A lot of people might not realize, but there's a feature of the high caliber medal, and that is that if you hit an ally, you don't get it. And that's because back in the day, there was team damage inside the game. And because there was team damage, some people thought, whoa, if I do damage to my team, I could get a high caliber. But so Wargaming clearly wrote in the high caliber medal that's not the case. It's a little bit annoying now that you can't actually damage your allies, that it still removes it. That's the case. But ladies and gents, boys and girls, 10,000 combined in 5 minutes and 18 seconds. A beast on a ridgeline. So, this vehicle, do I think that now this is the one that you must get your hands on? No, I don't think this is the one that you must get your hands on. Again, everything that I said about the Kampfpanzer project, I really like that vehicle. Love it. If you like Swedish tank destroyers, that vehicle will do very well for you once you figure out its nuances. Lorraine 50T, if you have one already, it might be worth taking it out, dusting it off, playing a few games. I still can't really recommend spending your tokens on this, but at least if you have everything, I'd probably get this one instead of just taking the bonds, for example. That's how I feel. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that was it for today. Really hope you enjoyed this look at these two new freshly buffed tanks. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And let me know in the comments down below what you think about the buffs to the Kampfpanzer project and to the Lorraine 50T. And if you're watching this video as it goes live on Friday, I'm going live all day on twitch.tv/QuickyBaby with brand new drops tokens. So come and get them. And you can get yourself a Dicamax for free, or get yourself an Su-85I for free. Both premium tanks, both sought after inside the game. Just for watching the stream on Mondays, Wednesdays, or Fridays. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.